This time, we're going to take you just a short distance around the mountain to Grand Harafu, still accessed on the same lift ticket, but just a different village. We went for a walk around town, and you do notice a few Australian accents about, because this is Ground Central and is the newest ski town for Aussies looking for powder snow. Where there are Aussies, you'll find the best conditions, and this place is relatively cheap, has its consistent snowfall, an average of 12 metres of snow each year, and the base sits around 4 metres for most of the season. The temperatures stay cold and the snow stays very, very nice. Do you get an idea of how deep it is just by walking around? Just look at how much snow there is on either side of the footpath. The one drawback of all this snow is the constant clearing of the white stuff so that the town can function. Shovels alone just won't cut it here. For this kind of snowfall, you need some serious equipment. And for the bigger jobs, there's no mucking around.
Our first night in town, and we were lucky enough to catch a big air comp, Japanese style. Well, actually, it's like every other big air comp across the world, with plenty of thrills and spills. The crowd gets excited, as does Ramona and myself. Doesn't the announcer realise it's minus 10 degrees and that it's night time? They breed them tough in Hokkaido and they love to rock and roll. The snow is relentless, day and night. This is surfing Niseko style. And the crowd love it, although I can't really see it catching on.
The next morning we caught up with an Aussie friend from Falls Creek, Caroline Ross. Having spent a few seasons here in Niseko, we figured she'd know all the best places to go. Caroline didn't disappoint. No matter where we go in the world, we always run into someone we know. Will Hawley and James Southwell Killy. With this many mad keen Australian skiers in one spot, you're bound to run into a few. Charlie seemed to take an interest in Caroline and spent most of his time skiing with her.
More.
Doesn't ever stop snowing.
It never stops snowing here. Why is it so? Caroline took us over to Hanazono, which is still part of the Niseko lift ticket. Ironically, Hanazono is now owned by an Australian consortium headed by ex-Hotham Managing Director Colin Hackworth. It may be only 3 lifts, but many say some of the best terrain on Niseko. We spent a lot of time in an area known as Strawberry Fields. Although the Japanese are very safety conscious and most of the Japanese stay on the wide, groomed runs, the ski patrol have had to accommodate for the increasing foreign contingent that want to get off the well-beaten path. To cater for the adventurous powder hounds, a few previously out-of-bounds areas have reluctantly been opened up by ski patrol. Hanazono, which in English means harmony, offer the White Room, an out-of-bounds experience led by trained guides. To get the most of your powder holiday, it's always worth getting a guide to show you around, just so you don't miss anything.
Niseko is actually a small town down on the flatlands, and is also the collective name of the 4 resorts that make up the Niseko ski area on the one mountain, Mount Annapurna. One lift ticket will give you access to over 30 lifts that vary from gondolas to covered chairlifts and exposed single chairs. Nice ski suit, dude, but it's not Easter. Although the mountain peak is just over 1,300 metres, lower than the Australian Alps, it has around 1,000 metres of vertical. And because of the cold, dry winds coming from Russia, the snow is always very nice here during midwinter. But be sure to wear your best thermals as it does get cold, as low as minus 20 degrees, plus wind chill.
We stayed at the Prince Hotel Harafute, a fantastic place that caters for all, with full Japanese style rooms, half Japanese, half Western rooms, and just plain Western rooms. But when in Japan, well, you know, live it. The Harafute is most famous for their spa, which is one of the best parts of Japanese culture. Almost all spas, onsens as they are known in Japan, come from a natural source, and the minerals found in the water are believed to be not only relaxing, but healing as well. For us, it was simply a wonderful daily experience which became routine.
Another reason why we liked the Harafute was its location on the side of the run, true ski-in, ski-out accommodation. You have to love this kind of service. Surprisingly, the slopes aren't crowded, and getting on the hill is easy with electronic ticketing. After another big day on the slopes, I caught up with Caroline.
So what's some of the biggest obstacles that Australians face coming here on holiday?
Well, the first thing is the language. I mean, there's the big language barrier, which is, it's more of a problem in the smaller resorts that haven't been so invaded by Australians.
But it's not difficult, is it, to overcome that?
No, it's not difficult. I mean, as long as you speak slowly and clearly. Most Japanese have quite a good understanding of English, but just, making simple sentences and, yeah.
You notice a lot of the signs too have both Japanese and English.
Especially here in Niseko, there's English and Japanese, and they're becoming a lot more receptive to English around here. But, as long as you make a try, I think most people should try at least and learn the basics, thank you, arigato, and hello.
So you must see a lot of Australians come through your lodge. Do they have any difficulties, fitting in with the Japanese culture?
No, some take it on more than others. Some will go out of their way to actually meet Japanese people and go to less sort of Australian invaded places.
But it's not hard to...
No, it's not hard. Every person that's come through has loved the place, and just because it's a skiing holiday, but it's also a cultural experience.
Yeah.
So you get there.
You're also fluent in Japanese, right?
Yeah,
so
I can still be a lot
translating
better.
for them?
Yeah, I help them out. Restaurant bookings and that sort of thing is a bit difficult if you don't have that, backup.
Or bus schedules,
Bus schedules, booking buses to Sapporo, or if they want to go to another resort near here, it's a bit hard trying to organise that if you don't have Japanese. But having said that, there's so much around in English that, it's not too bad.
Is there any big adjustment that Australians need to make to fit in with the Japanese culture?
Yeah, I think...
Like, you could be very polite and...
Definitely a bit more polite, and Japanese people tend to be... they're very polite and indirect, so we're direct compared to compared to Japanese people. So yeah, politeness is a big thing.
We were invited for a special dinner at the Alpen Hotel to eat at the Hirafu restaurant. Japanese food is exceptional and always tastes so fresh. We were joined by the mountain manager of Grand Hirafu, Takanori Tachibana, and he talked us through the local cuisine that just continues to amaze you. Sometimes Japanese food is not entirely recognisable, but we always made an effort to try something different. And by looking at the Japanese population around us, it must be all good for you. Apparently, Japanese are really into varying textures of food, which sometimes can be a challenge for the Western palate, but never boring, and always pretty tasty. Charlie's got a fascination with the moving food.
It's got character.
It's not alive, Charlie, it's just unfolding.
Itadakimasu. Itadakimasu.
We were more than happy.
Grand Hirafu has lifts running from 8:30 AM to 9 PM. That's 12 and a half hours of skiing if you want it. And since they light up so much of the hill and most of the lifts operate, you can choose any time to go skiing and snowboarding. So if you want to get the most out of your lift ticket, start training now for a ski holiday in Niseko next winter. There is so much light, you can even get in amongst the trees and find some powder.
Charlie, you're an instructor. What is the instructor way of skiing powder?
Well, there's no one way, but there's a few things I teach people when we're in powder. One of the main things, and it's a common mistake, most people tend to lean back when they're skiing powder. And I know people have always been told that, but it's really wrong. Like, it really upsets your balance. You should stay standing in the middle of your ski. That's probably the most important thing. But also, if you're skiing on older school skis, like skis a bit straighter, it's important to bring your skis a little bit closer together. Lets them sort of come back up through the bottom of the turn a bit easier, so you don't sink as much.
I mean, that's the way I was taught, like in the, and also getting your arms to go up and down to get your bounce out of the powder and stuff like that. But I mean, it's changed now that I got these big fat skis.
Yeah, I know. Now I've all got these fat skis. You don't really need to bother about it as much because your skis, they come back up from the turn much easier. You don't sink as much.